Awards. Hi, Benny. I got some familiar names, which is awesome. We got some UK folks. Hi, Gina out of Brooklyn. More Canadians. We keep the Canadians coming. Karen. Hi, Karen and Ann. Diana. Yay. Kathy in Levittown. Go Long Island. This is awesome. Thank you, Connie. I'm going to talk about the Biggest Little in a second, just to do some housekeeping. Hi, Kathy up in Glens Falls. So good to see everybody. Awesome, awesome. Thank you for joining us today on the Meet the Miniaturist series. This is awesome. We're just getting to be about 4 o'clock. If you haven't told me yet where you're joining from, definitely put it in the chat box. Hi, Portland, Oregon. Sort of earlier in part of the day for you. Hi, Susan. Thank you for your wishes. Good to hear from. It's so good to. Yeah. So I might as well just start. Thank you for keep coming in. So good to see everybody. Thank you for joining. Before we introduce Michael, just want to get through some housekeeping. Yes, if you didn't know this, Biggest Little Christmas Showdown, second episode. This is HGTV's new series about making miniatures. If you don't know, please look into it. We're going to put a link in the chat box to go and watch it, because the episode that I was on is actually posted on YouTube. Go quicker than not, because we don't know how long it's going to be up there. It might be on the HGTV site, but either way, go watch. I'm in it. That was fun. We won our episode, myself and May. May Burnett was my partner. So I'm just happy to say that we won our episode. We're moving on to the finale. Please watch us. So excited about that. Kay Browning is going to be giving us a virtual walkthrough of her museum next Saturday night. I apologize to some of you who got my email twice because I had to do a correction, but next Saturday night at 7 p.m. It's sort of like a special evening edition of Meet the Miniaturist virtual. It'll be a virtual tour of her museum. She has it set up for Christmas. You're not going to want to miss this. We're going to put the link in below for this registration. To register, I would say sign up sooner than later. It's probably going to book. Yeah, and I only have the ability to get 100 people on this right now. So I would say register and just get on early as possible. We're already at 100 right now for this. So it's great. It's great and exciting that you're interested in this. So I'm excited. But yeah, definitely not want to miss that Saturday night special Meet the Miniaturist. Be really cozy, grab some hot cocoa, maybe a glass of wine, sit and watch the beautiful miniatures. The other thing I wanted to mention against the Biggest Little Christmas Showdown is next Friday night in the US, at least. I know my Canadians won't see it until Sunday, my Canadian friends, but the next episode 3, is next Friday, and the theme is going to be a retro Christmas. So you're going to want to watch that. And then the finale is on the 18th, and then I'm on that one. So look for that. And then finally, I don't know if you know, but I do a lecture series called The History of Miniatures. I take you through history of miniatures from ancient times all the way up through to the modern era. And I talk about how it's sort of become this pop culture phenomenon, which it has. So definitely look for that. I put a link in there. That's a paid for event. It's $9.99. Come join us. This is for whether you're a newbie or if you're a seasoned, involved miniaturist. I think everybody walks away from my presentations being, newly encouraged or encouraged for the first time to sort of, hear about this wonderful world of tiny. So look for those things. And then finally, I'm working on, and I would love to know what your thoughts are, folks, in the chat box. I'm working on introducing a D. Thomas mini virtual club. So it's sort of a community-based online event that will happen on a regular basis. I'm sorry?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah. That will be a great place for us to meet. You'll get news and updates on what's happening in the mini world, special guests who maybe will show tips and techniques on using miniaturists, that kind of thing. Very club-oriented, very super casual, but held on a regular basis so we can all just get in a room and, chat in the chat box about what's going on in the mini world. So I would love to know what your thoughts are around that. That will also be a paid-for event, a nominal fee just to keep sort of the energy going of getting that club going. So look for more information about that. But I love definitely put in the chat box what your thoughts are around. Is this something you would attend? Is this something you would pay for? What would you want? What would you want out of a mini club? What would you like to see happen in those club meetings? What's the best time to have it? So definitely would love to hear what you're thinking. If you want to send me some notes offline, I would love to hear from you. I know some of you are, super communicative, and I love that. And I read every email, and I love interacting with you guys offline. So if you want to, connect with me offline, let's do it. But without further ado, I want to welcome Michael Hogan to this Meet the Miniaturist event. I am so excited to introduce him. I found him, I think, online on Instagram, was blown away by his collection, and then blown away even further to learn that he's only been doing this for 4 years. So for those of you who are new to the miniatures world, I think you're going to be really, really inspired by what Michael has achieved in a very, very short period of time, and to learn about what his skills are around this miniatures world, because it's not necessarily making miniatures, but it sure is centered around interior design miniatures, putting it all together. He has an extensive collection of room boxes and miniatures, and we are going to get to it. So welcome, Michael. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. So let's hear a little bit about you. Tell us a little bit about yourself before we move on to sort of the miniature stuff.
Yeah, sure. I'm from Columbus, Ohio. My background in my career is in public relations, in the tech industry. And like I said, in 2016 is when I began collecting miniatures. I came across a Lawbury Rose Dawn Plantation dollhouse here in Columbus at a local online auction. And when I got it home, it had all this artisan furniture. So I started doing research, and I was like, I really hit the jackpot,
Yeah.
because this person had all artisan pieces that were beautiful. And that's really how I got into it. I was really just planning on buying this dollhouse and maybe like redoing it and then maybe selling it. And then I've always liked interior design and like architecture, so that's really why I got into it. And then after seeing all these miniatures, it just really got me into the miniature scene, because I was like, it was just amazing. I couldn't believe the amount of work that these artisans do, and the detail of the smallest pieces, and working in this scale. I mean, and you can't even tell sometimes that it's in miniature. And I think that's one of the things that I really like to achieve, is when you see a room box, you can't really tell that it's a 1-inch scale miniature, but it's actually a real room.
Yeah, we're gonna that's one of the things I think that really attracted me most, was the fact that you could not tell that your rooms were miniature rooms. And I actually reached out and I said, "Can you put your hand in them a little more?" Because we get fooled.
Right,
Sometimes people just move on to the next image if they don't know it's a miniature.
right.
So I'm like, we need to see your hand.
And I started doing that because I think people then were like, wow, because I think sometimes people are like, no, that isn't miniature.
Right? They
But
don't.
then when I started doing the photos with my hand in it, I think people were really like, wow.
Yeah. So let me ask you, before you move forward, tell me a little bit, go back a little bit. I mean, did it just really literally start with that dollhouse thing, or where was your interest growing up? Did you have an interest in miniatures? Did you like
You
have
know what?
a dollhouse?
Well, actually, yeah. When I was a little kid, I'd actually had a
You did.
dollhouse.
Ah,
I did.
that's
So,
awesome.
yeah, it was one of those. I think it was like Marks, the tin ones.
Oh,
And it had all the little furniture in it. And yeah, I loved that growing up. And my grandfather actually made all three of his granddaughters dollhouses. So I watched him make those,
are you
and they
jealous
all
that he
actually
didn't
still
make you
have them.
one?
No, he never made me one, but
I know. I would have been a little jealous.
yeah, but they're actually. I mean, he did amazing work on them. But yeah, so I've always had an interest, and like I said, I've always had an interest in like design, architecture, and things like that. And when I'm designing like a room box, I look at like magazines, and I'll send pictures to the artisans and say, can you make this? Is
Yeah.
this possible? Sometimes they can't, or they'll recommend somebody else. But yeah, a lot of the things that I commission are actually real life size pieces that like I find in a magazine or
Yeah.
online, and I'll just be like, "Can you do this?"
Yeah. Well,
So,
I want to hear all about that process, but
sure.
take me back though to, so there's this dollhouse, and it was an incredible dollhouse, and it was an incredible find with all of these artisan pieces inside.
It was, and like I said, and I tried to do some research to see where it came from, and it was kind of difficult. But what I was told is the lady who has since she's deceased now, but she had a huge collection, and I think her family may have kept some, but they did not keep this one, and it needed some work. I think it was in the basement, so it had some water damage from like the wallpaper,
Right.
but all the furniture was in boxes, so that wasn't an issue. But
So,
um, still today, I still don't have it done because uh, it was actually my project to really get into miniatures and learn like electricity.
yeah.
So I actually did wallpaper some rooms and did some of the wiring just to learn it. Actually, and then I've stripped it since then because I've learned from my mistakes.
Right.
But I really want to in the new year, in 2021, I really want to finish it. I
Mini.
already have the additions that Tony Jones made for me that I can put on each side of it. Those are complete. I mean, I even have them furnished. I'll show them in a little bit. But the actual main dollhouse, I kind of learned kind of from my mistakes, so now I can really do it, and
Yeah.
I'll feel more comfortable. I wasn't comfortable the first time, and like I said, I learned from
Yeah.
my mistakes, and I've really pretty much learned on my own. I would reach out to some miniature artisans, like people that that are in lighting,
Yeah.
that I've asked questions because I wasn't sure, and they've taught me, and
So
or I'll just do YouTube videos.
yeah. So you have this humongous house, which sounds like there's a lot to do on that. And that's one part of it, it sounds like. But then you have this discovery of all these artisan pieces. And that was sort of also new to you. This, my goodness, there's artisan works here, and learning about that and learning about
Oh
who
my
they
god,
are.
yeah, and all over the world. I mean, like I work with people from Australia to England to Germany to Spain, all over the United States, because they all specialize in something and they all do great work. And I'll showcase some of those pieces and some of my favorite artisans,
Yeah.
just so so people can see kind of the work they do. And that's what's great about it is a lot of them, you know you can work with them because they have that specialty. So I know if I need like a floral bouquet, I know who to go to because I've worked with them before, and I kind of know their time frame.
Yeah.
There's a long lead time, you
Right.
know, when it
So,
comes to
so
them.
but take me back because you're going so fast. And I want
Yeah,
to know more. So you're it's really your first introduction to artisan pieces and the miniature world, sort of
right.
high-end miniature world. And so that you dove into this, you have this huge house, and you have a sizable collection of artisan miniatures. And so talk about how you moved into sort of smaller room boxes, and a lot of what we're seeing behind you.
Sure. So at first I really wasn't into room boxes, but then when I saw how big like a dollhouse, how much room it takes up, I mean they're beautiful, but they really do take up a lot of room. And I've noticed the trend of like room boxes, and I was like, they don't take as much room up, and I really can get into the design process of that. So like, um, if you do you want me to get into that, how I do that?
I want to hear, actually, I want to hear a little bit more about the design process, because that really is one of your really key strengths, is not only
Yeah,
finding and your eye for these pieces, but then putting it all together. Talk a little bit about, okay, so now you're in the place where you've discovered room boxes, they're smaller, they're more manageable, and oh my goodness, I can pull these pieces together. Talk about that experience and what you love most
yeah.
about that. I'd love to hear that.
Yeah. So usually how it begins is if I want a room box, I'll actually draw up like a little design concept where like I'll put all the dimensions on a paper, and I'll actually draw it up like the floor plan and what
Right.
I'm looking for. And then that's when I do the research. So I'll go out and look on magazines, like different, like the walls that I like, or the types of windows. If I want the walls painted, or if I want wallpaper. And then that's really where the design process goes when I'm looking for furniture pieces. There are some that I already have, but if I need an upholstered couch. I know who to go to, and I usually either send the material, or they will show me some of the pieces that they have, and then I'll pick from there, because at that point I kind of know the colors that I want, so they all like mesh together. So that's usually how it works, and I try to do that. So if I'm beginning if I draw up the plan, send it to the artisan that's going to work on it and build it, I usually, in that, let's say it takes about 3 months for that to happen. I start in the 3 months when they start building it. That's when I start actually commissioning the pieces or looking for them on eBay or Etsy and things like that.
Yeah, that's I want to definitely talk about that. So you create in your mind, you create on paper, and then you go out and there's the discovery process of finding the folks you want to work with who are going to bring your vision to life, right?
Right.
So talk about that connection. They're everywhere. Where are they? They're on.
Yeah.
You said.
Yeah. So like I said, a lot of people I've found on Etsy. Um, like I said, there are some that I've actually established relationships with people on eBay, Facebook, the miniature groups, all the different miniature groups. I've developed relationships there, and because a lot of them post their work on those pages, so I usually reach out to them there. Or they know people. They'll be like, "This is who the person that you need to work with."
Yeah,
On
I think you said something really good. And before we get to questions, because we're going to open some questions before we move on. But
Mhm.
I have a question about that. You mentioned, you talked about relationships, and I think in our little mini world, it is about relationship building, and there's got to be a trust between the artist and the collector. Talk about that. How you cultivate those relationships, how important they are. What are the trips to building that relationship?
Oh, definitely. I mean, I think with a lot of the artisans that like I work with, all throughout the process, if they're making me something, they keep me informed. They'll send me pictures. They'll say, "Do you like this? Do you want me to change this? How does this look?" And I like that because there's really no surprises once you receive it.
Yeah.
So that's really, I think, important when you're, cultivating that relationship with a artisan, and then, and just being upfront of like the costs, and some things can be really expensive, and you want to know that up front, what they can do and what they can't do, or how you can, if you have a budget, what things can I change so it stays within the budget of whatever whatever project you're working on.
I think you said something key, which is communication. I mean, I think if you have the communication right and you guys are
Yeah.
dialogue,
And I think with artisans too, you have to learn, you have to be patient, because a lot of artisans they work on their own schedule. I mean, there have been times where it's been a year
yeah,
that I've waited for something, and it takes them that long. And I am not pushy. I just know that that's just how it is in the miniature world. And
yeah,
they have a backlog of work already. And sometimes it works, and they'll be like, "I'm free. I can work on your project now," or
right.
they stay within their schedule. But at least they're upfront about it. And I think that's part of the communication. If you want something like within a week,
Yeah.
that's not going to really happen, because this work is very tedious, and it's very detailed, and it takes, if you want good quality work, you have to let them take the time that they need to produce a good
Yeah.
quality piece.
No, I think those are really excellent points. All right, so let's open up the questions. Anybody have any questions? Mary, do you take your displays on tour? Well, before we get to see the displays, which I can't wait to, she wants to know if you bring them on tour.
I haven't. Anyone that, like, family and friends that have seen my collection, they're always like, "You need to," and I have thought about it. It is an extensive amount of work to do that, and the insurance, and finding the right avenue to do that. We do have a local arts organization that I thought would be great to put it on display, but there's so many things that you have to think about and consider when doing that. But yeah, definitely. I think that's why I like established my Instagram page, so at least I could share it with
Yeah,
the public that way. Because before, I mean, it was friends and family, or if I shared it on Facebook, but at least on Instagram, it goes to a bigger audience. And I
yeah,
think people enjoy that. So at this point, I'm happy with that. And who's to say down the road, even if we did something on our actual property, if we built something that I could display in. But right now, I just have them all in my basement.
yeah. I love it. All right. Well, so let's get
So
to the good stuff.
that used to be a family room, and it's been overtaken by miniatures.
Well, what's the problem with that? I don't see a problem with that. That's a good thing. All right. So we do have a question about electrifying, which let's get to later, but let's definitely love to see some of the pieces that are behind you, or, you
Yeah.
know,
So yeah, so this piece right here,
ah,
can you see it? I'll try to
yes.
zoom in. So this is Mark Murphy. He makes furniture. He's in Oregon. Great artisan, very detailed. His pieces are just great. So he made that for me.
Excuse me.
Sorry.
Did you just pull that out of that room box, or you had that off to the side?
I had him off to the side.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
I'm sorry, William Murphy, or Bill Murphy, as that's his nickname. Bill does a lot of my upholstery work,
Hmm.
so he made that chair. Actually, I sent him that fabric, so he does great quality fabric work. I mean, like if you need someone to do fabrics, he's great. Um,
So does that chair go in that room behind you on the bottom there? You pulled it? No.
no, it
I see
goes
a yellow
into,
chair
yeah,
in there.
yeah, it goes into another
Oh,
room
another.
box, but it looks like it does.
Right. Okay.
Um,
Let's see.
this person who makes fabulous florals, her name is Carmen Sanchez,
Oh my,
and she's in Spain. But look at that; these are peonies.
that is
I
fabulous.
mean, yeah, I mean, just these are all made out of paper. I mean, it's just amazing, and it's so. I mean, it looks so real. I mean,
It really does. It's awesome.
yeah.
It is awesome. So are
And
you
then,
showing us some of your favorite pieces from some of your favorite artists, or is that how you got to this list? I mean, because
yeah,
how do you
some of my
decide?
these are some of my favorite artists. This person, this is Francisco Del Pazo Perez. He is actually in Spain too. So he solders metal. So he made this little metal bench for me.
Oh my gosh.
Um, yeah, it's actually amazing. He does amazing work. So he makes like a lot of my glass coffee tables that are made out of metal.
Yep.
Um,
And what's
and
the cushion made of? Is that fabric?
leather, brown
Oh,
leather.
yeah.
And this is actually a piece that I found in a magazine. I bet it may have been like Architectural Digest. And I
Uh-huh.
sent it to him and I said, "Can you make this?" And he made it. So
So
yeah,
how would you describe the style that you love? It looks pretty traditional.
I would say so. I would say it's pretty traditional. I like traditional and primitive.
Uh-huh.
So I know that's really like drastic, but I really love primitive because we have a lot of primitive actually in our home.
Right.
And I've just really come to love it because I mean, just some of the pieces are great, and then and just like I said, the traditional style.
Yeah.
Um, and then like this is an example of one that I found on, I believe it was somebody that I found on eBay that I actually found their contact information. I did research, but he um, makes, so this gentleman, his name's Walter Krensky. I mean, his work is phenomenal. He makes furniture.
Yeah.
His work is up there, like with, people have heard of Roger Guthill and
Yep.
those. I mean, his work is amazing. He's very affordable. I believe he's in Alabama.
Right.
Um, and him and his wife kind of are in the miniatures. And yeah, so
We might
he
be
made
inundating him if we put his name in the chat box. Are you open to what was his name again?
Walter Krinsky.
Well,
It's Krenzke.
all right. He's going to be very busy.
And then
I think I wanted to find out, are his draws dovetailed? Does he get that detailed?
um you know what? I know you asked me that the other day and I never checked, but I'm not sure.
Don't break it. My
No, I mean in this piece it's not dovetailed,
okay.
but there are, like you did say, there are some that do the dovetailing.
It's a beautiful piece. It really is. You can tell the lines are just beautiful. So
And
these,
then
yeah.
and I love paintings, and this is a painting. So this was done by, his name is Joachim Kuhner, and Joachim, he's in Germany. So he paints all of his pieces. That's a ship painting of some
Oh, that's
ships,
great.
like
We
in a
can see that
harbor.
really beautifully. That is
Yeah.
gorgeous.
Yeah, his work is actually amazing. He does a lot of ship work. I
Uh-huh.
have actually one of the Titanic. It's really pretty cool. Um, and then this is probably the artist I have some of the most pieces of. That's Bubba's miniatures. So she does primitives.
We love
So
Bubba.
yeah. So Barbara actually retired this year, so she does more. I think just maybe commission work now. But as far as yeah. So I started collecting her like right in the beginning. So I have a lot of her pieces because, like I said, I like primitives.
Is it sort
Um,
of like shaker country? What I never understood primitive. Like, what
it's
is it?
it's like Americana. Yeah, all original. And a lot of them are, I mean, primitives in like a primitive painting in real life. I mean, yeah, I would say, it
A lot
it's
of a lot of
yeah, kind of like a farmhouse style. Yeah,
yeah, beautiful, beautiful. That's awesome. Those are
yeah.
great, really great pieces. So let me know if anybody has any questions before we move on and see more of this awesome, awesome collection. Really awesome so far. Yeah. All right. Well, we did have a question about electrifying. It was more about the electrifying the dollhouse, but I think this applies to room boxes as well.
Mhm.
What are some of the biggest like mistakes that you might have made that learned from? Like, what are the biggest challenges? Why don't we ask it that way?
So I mostly use the tape wire because I haven't learned, and I want to, like the soldering where you don't have to use the tape wire, so it's hardwired, I guess.
Yeah.
So it's just it can be frustrating when like especially if you're using wallpaper and then the connection you lose the connection because the little the wire from the lamp it loses the connection on the little pins that you put in the tape to make the connection. So then that's where it can be frustrating because then you have to take the wallpaper off to reconnect it again. And so I've learned just like how to really keep them in place so they don't lose the connection. But that was one of the biggest hurdles
Yeah.
when I said I worked on my first dollhouse
So
was
everything we see is tape wired that we're seeing behind you, pretty
yeah,
much.
pretty
Wow.
much. Yeah, I tape wired mostly all of them. Now, like some of the ones where I've had where like in this one here that you see, which is the beach house. These it looks like a dollhouse, but it's actually two room boxes. I kind of came up with that concept because it they're easy to move around and transport, and then I made it into a dollhouse. And
Yeah,
then I used like yeah.
I
So
get
the
that.
shell was built for me, and then I did all the inside.
So yeah, talk a little bit about that because I think that that's a really innovative way of sort of building on something, but not making it too overwhelming. So
Right.
talk about what did you start with and how did you end up with where you ended up with that?
Yes. So I started with where I worked with Fred Cobbs. Fred does room boxes. And so I sent him the design concept. I drew it up and said I was looking for like a beach house and kind of how I wanted it to go from one level to the next, as you can see in here. So the dining area, then there's steps that go down into the living room area. So he
Michael,
did this one
Mike,
first.
Michael, can you get us closer to that?
Yeah. Here,
Yeah, perfect. Thank
give
you.
me 1 second. I'm going to kind of move it.
Yeah, that's cool.
Just don't want it to fall. So, is that better?
Yeah.
All right. So he did this broom box first.
Mhm.
And then I really didn't have plans for the top one. And then um I thought, well, I can add like some bedrooms on top. So then he built me the second um part, which just sits right on top. And then I cut out an opening for the staircase. And I actually had this. So this staircase here was actually made by, like I said, the guy that does all the metal work in Spain.
Yep.
Francisco actually made that staircase for me. I gave him all the dimensions and he built that. And it's actually all the spindles in the railing are all metal. It's really pretty amazing work because this is where I just don't have patience. I actually built or I bought one like on miniatures.com and then I saw that you had to put it all together and I just don't have the patience to build. So
What is the materials that he uses for those room boxes?
this I think it's just plywood.
Spotlight for everyone.
Yeah.
So it's plywood. So it's pretty hefty.
Yeah, oh yeah, yeah. it's pretty hefty. But I mean, there are other ones I don't know what they weren't probably built out of plywood, but I know like this one, you
Mhm.
know, was so.
Right, it's awesome.
And then
Yeah.
if you guys can see, can you guys see this one right here?
Yeah, it would be great if we can get closer. And
Okay.
while you're,
All
while
right.
you're setting that up, I just wanted to mention Michael should be spotlit for folks. So I think if you just,
Can
um,
you guys see that?
yes, much better. If you just click on Michael, he'll come up. It should
So
come up now. Yeah.
so this is a room box that I found online, and I actually redid it all because it was kind of outdated, the wallpaper and the colors. So I actually put new flooring in, wallpaper, and left the architectural elements like the windows, all the molding, and I kind of redid it. So
Yeah.
um,
I,
that,
yep. Keep going.
yeah. So
So
you
those are
just
built-ins I see.
yep.
Awesome. Oh my God. And then there's the beautiful Christmas tree. And I love, is that that's a doorway. So it's a hallway.
Yes.
I'm just loving it. And I love the round is it a barrel table? What is that called?
Yeah. I mean, I think that it's like a drum table. I think they
Drum
call it a
table. That's what it's called.
drum
Yes.
table. Yeah, you can. I mean, you see them a lot of like in a hallway, like an entryway.
Yeah. And then
So
the
then,
grandfather clock is awesome. Who
oh
made
yeah,
who
oh
made
that is Keith Bugard. So
uh,
Keith is in France, and he is amazing,
he really is.
especially with clocks. He makes beautiful clocks.
Yeah, his clocks are crazy good.
Yeah,
Really
and
good.
they actually work. They actually like they do work. I don't have mine timed, but there's a way, with batteries that you can put them in, and actually it tells the real time.
Love it. And I love the little petite chandelier. That's lovely.
Yeah, that's Jason Getson.
Oh, beautiful. Beautiful. It's an
So
awesome room box. It really is.
yeah,
So
and then here's a close up of the beach house.
yep, fantastic.
Yep,
And I love, is it two cabinets you have? They're matching cabinets on the right.
right there. Oh yeah,
Oh yeah. No, I thought there was two. There is a room box that you have two cabinets side by side.
yeah. I'll share
Love
that one a little bit.
I
Yeah,
love that. Okay. Uh,
Darren, do you want me to go to the next room box, the one that I just finished recently?
yeah, let's do it.
Okay.
And guys, while we're moving around the room, if you have any questions, definitely put it in the chat box. And I hope you can see, and you can see everybody right now. You can see Michael.
Well, I'm probably not in it because I'm moving the phone
Yeah.
around to come and show.
Yeah, this
But
is one of my favorite rooms. Just
yeah, so this is
unbelievable.
one so Tony Jones built the box for me.
Oh, I
And then
love this lighting. Sorry.
yeah, and then I designed it all. So
Yeah,
you want
I want to tap into that because you really do have an amazing design sense.
yeah,
Like,
and
just,
a lot of the pieces, I mean, not every single piece in here is like artisan miniature. I mean, there are some pieces that I find really inexpensive and I'll be like, it works. I mean, there might be a painting in here that's not real. Like the one above the dresser there of the boats. I mean, I think I only paid like $10 for that on Etsy. I mean, it's a print, but it looks pretty good.
yeah, and I think that that's a really great message because I use this analogy all the time. It's like you don't have to have a full closet worth of Chanel, but you might have that little bit, that bag from Chanel, but everything else could be Target. But if you have that one piece that's really great,
Yeah.
it puts it all together, and that's the idea. You pull it all together just beautifully. It doesn't all have to be top high end. So
And,
it's
and
really
then
put it all
Bill
together.
Murphy, Bill Murphy made me the couch, the two chairs, and the ottoman. I mean, like I said, he does great upholstery work. He's one of my favorite. And like I said, Francisco from Spain made me the coffee. That's an example of his coffee table work. It's really amazing.
And do I see another grandfather clock?
Yeah, all
I
the way
think I have a
through.
grandfather clock fetish because I just love them. And who made that one?
Keith did
Another.
that.
I love it.
Yeah,
So we did have a question. What scale is that room? I think it looks like 1/12th.
yeah, it is.
Only work in 1/12th, or do you dabble in other
No,
scales?
no, just 1/12.
It's 1/12th. I love it. It's beautiful. That is just a beautiful room.
Yeah. And then over here is another Christmas one. So,
Yeah. So talk about that. When do you start decorating your rooms for Christmas?
I like beginning of November.
November. You're out there. I love it.
Because
That,
it's a lot of work and trying to get stuff to stay, which all miniaturists know it can be difficult sometimes. I mean, you're using the wax, and I can't tell me how many times like the wreath and garland on this fireplace has fallen off because it doesn't want to stay, with
so do you use
moisture.
museum wax? Because I hate museum wax. What's the
Yes,
trick?
it's called it's like that museum wax.
I hate it. It gets all over everything and it's so hard to get off. But what are the options? What are the options? So do you fix everything down?
No, I don't.
You don't.
I should because it wouldn't fall, but for the most part, only things like pictures on the walls, but like nothing on the tables, just because it leaves sometimes a residue and
Residue.
you
I
know,
hate that residue. Um, the other question I think I had was, oh, do you cover your boxes with anything? Like Plexi?
some of them are and some of them aren't. I wish all of them were because it would keep dust out, but
Right.
no, not all of them do. And but there are some that like I bought that already had the plexiglass, which
Okay.
is nice because it does keep the dust out. But there are some that no, that
But
that
they're
don't have
hinged. It
plexiglass, and that is one thing. Like probably biggest pet peeve is that some of them don't because then things get dusty and I have to to
yeah.
clean them. And
Right.
as you can see, there are some dusty spots.
Well, no,
So
you
it
can't
takes a
see it.
lot of
It,
time
it
to
looks perfect from here.
yeah.
All right, that's beautiful, and I love that octagon table. Oh my gosh, it's just beautiful, and this and that beautiful structure that the artwork. I don't know what that is. Looks like a
Yeah. Which
I don't know.
one?
It's a
Oh,
cute
that
statue
so
on a table. What's that?
that's the that's the Titanic painting.
Oh no, oh no! I didn't even see the Titanic painting. I was talking about the sculpture. Is that a
Oh yeah,
the
that
bronze?
is I can't remember the artist, but yeah, they work in bronze. They're pretty amazing. They do a lot of art pieces.
Beautiful. And again, it just goes back to your wonderful skill of putting all the pieces together because that's not necessarily traditional. It's a little more modern. The table, the end table is modern, but it just all works so beautifully.
Right. And some of the artists, I mean, they're like I said, the gentleman that makes me the coffee tables, I mean, if he doesn't think he can achieve it to look like a real life miniature, he won't make it. He'll tell me I can't do this.
And
So,
so that's one of the tables you had commissioned.
yep.
I love it. Is it like a brushed gold? What is that?
Yeah, it's like a brushed gold.
I love it. It's very modern, but traditional in the same.
The other thing you have to think about too is the transport. So these are coming from like, all over the world. So there was one instance where I had a piece that was broken. It was very disappointing, but I mean, you have to think about that too. Making
Yeah.
sure that it gets over here and all in one piece because they are so they're so little and they can easily break.
Yeah. I have a question from Reet. Wants to know where do you get your lamps? Who are some of the artists from these beautiful lamps?
I think Christopher Whitford are most of my lamps, and then like I said, eBay. And I've actually made some myself that I've just bought like the bottom base piece, and then I found the 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 lamp shades online, and
Yeah.
it's really actually as long as you have the hole at the bottom
Yeah.
of the base piece of the lamp. I mean, you can actually make it's really not that hard to make your own lamp.
Really? That's a pretty nice tip. I love it. I
Yeah,
love it.
you just have to have the hole to put the wire through, and because most lamps are made just with a base, basically, and then they drill the hole through, and then you put the wiring through, and then you put the base on the top and the lampshade, and yeah,
Beautiful. All right. Awesome. Someone mentioned that they suggested that that sculpture might be an Adada. Does that make
it
sense?
is. That's who it is.
Good eye, Delia. Uh-huh. And the chandelier there, is that another Gitsan?
That's Jason. No, that's Clarabelle.
Clarabelle. Oh, we love Clarabelle. We love their work.
Yes, they did great work. And
And
as you can see, and see the things that happen, as you can see the shade up by the wreath, it fell over.
it
So I'll
happened.
have to fix
It
that
happened.
later.
And then who did the tree?
So Mabel Malley did the tree. Mabel is awesome at making Christmas trees.
It's beautiful.
her work is just like, it's absolutely out of this world. And Mabel's one of those ones, you send her a picture. I send her a picture from one that I do a Google search on a certain color that I like of a tree and send it to her, and she always is able to like produce like the most beautiful trees.
Beautiful. Really nice.
She
Really
really puts a lot of work into them. She makes beautiful bows, and and they're all handmade. Even the tree, she actually hand makes the actual Christmas tree that all the bulbs go on. So
yeah.
yeah, it's
But
pretty amazing.
yeah, the scale and the sizing is really perfect too.
Yeah.
So are you really specific about the sizing when you commission these? Because it's
Oh,
just
yeah, definitely. And I mean, there have been pieces that I bought before, and I'm like, I thought it was 1 inch scale, and then when I get it, I'm like, this is way too small or way too big, and then I can't
yeah,
use it. But for the most part, um, yeah, I mean, they know that I work in that, and that's what
yeah,
I'm looking for.
yeah. I mean, I find
And
that,
that's one of the important things to do is always read if you're bidding on something or buying something the scale, because
yeah,
there are many times that if you don't and then you get it and you're like, oh,
yeah,
and then sometimes you're stuck with it because I mean, if you didn't read it, the description, then you're stuck with something that you can't use.
right, right. Yeah. Well, that's
Do you
awesome.
want to, Darren? Do you guys want to see the big dollhouse?
Yeah.
My big one. Okay, so
This is the first one that you acquired 4 years ago.
no, this is a
Oh,
second one that I
this is
did.
the
So this is
second.
the one that it's actually a finished one that's on display. This is a Pam through. So
Ham through.
um
Love it.
yeah. So there it is. That's the front of it. Her work.
Can we just take a moment to acknowledge you are in a relatively large room just filled with these beautiful treasures. So
Yeah.
I just love to see your massive collection of miniatures. It just makes my heart warm. I love it. All right,
So
so this is another acquired house.
yeah, so this is one, like I said, Pam Throop, who is basically like the architect. I mean, her work is just amazing. She's
Yeah,
deceased now,
yeah,
but it's amazing as you can see. I mean, like it has all the build outs or all the cutouts for the rooms. So I'm gonna like zoom in kind of like
yeah.
the dining room area.
So this is more of the primitive design you were talking about.
Yes, this is more of a primitive.
Yeah,
So this is like the dining room area. Is it good?
yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
Can you guys see? Just send a note in the chat box if you're okay with seeing it.
This is
But
the
there's a
kitchen.
lot going on in these. There's a lot of stuff.
And a good place if you ever want good appliances. Elf Miniatures in the UK.
Elf.
Elizabeth Lepla, yes, she is the best and very affordable. She made me the stove there, the refrigerator. They actually light up if you want them. You can get them battery operated or electrified if you want, depending on your,
I,
what
I'm
you
I,
have.
I'm loving that little painting above the sink. That is just
Yeah.
delightful.
And I know I said I don't really build. I did build one thing, which I'm going to show next, and that's the in-ground pool.
Yes, I love that.
So I actually built that. That was one of my projects that I actually did. And then, like I said, Francisco, the gentleman that does the metal work, he made me the pool ladder to get into the pool.
So
And he actually made me the lounge chairs.
so is it filled? I can't tell.
No, that's actually paper. It's just paper that looks like top blue tile.
It's
You
got a
know,
sheen to it, so it does look like there's water in it.
yeah.
Wow, but there's no water. I love it. I love it.
Yeah. And then right here is like the patio, I guess, area with
Yeah,
the trellis.
beautiful.
And a lot of like the trellis, I found it was on an online auction.
Uh
I
huh.
think like one of the more popular ones, and I think I bought it for like $45. I mean, and it's crazy because it's beautiful.
Yeah, yeah.
And
That
this is probably my favorite part. I love the little porch here.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, yeah. So
Is that house architecturally accurate in the sense that the rooms all work as a real house would?
yes, most definitely. I mean, all the entry or all the rooms go into another room. It's actually, I believe it is built off of a real house in Cape Cod.
And you can get to every room.
Yes, you can get to every room.
So that's a
So,
really that's a rare find for sure.
oh, it definitely is. I mean, it's an architectural masterpiece. I mean, like, I
Yes.
don't know how long it probably took her to build this, but the work is just absolutely amazing.
Oh my goodness. Where does all the electricity run to? I'm always curious
I
about that.
believe in this one, I mean, this is very heavy. It's all underneath. And this is an example of a hardwire one. So she has all this hardwire.
Yeah. I'm a
Yeah.
hardwire fan, so
Yeah. And
wow,
then,
it's incredible.
so if you guys want to just get a perspective, like so, uh,
And
and
that
tell
house
me,
is decorated too, so now I see why you have to start in November.
right. And this is like, so these are some of my other room boxes that I lit.
Another grandfather clock.
So this is like a little primitive room. And see, this is an example of like, so, oh, see, I lost the connection there and that lamp, but I have to work with it later. But that's
Wow.
pretty amazing.
Yeah.
I think this is the room that you were talking about, Darren, with the
Oh yes, I love the double cabinets. They
yeah.
are two separate pieces though, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it's two separate. And I actually had Barbara Vagnar, Barbara redid the some of the hinges broke off, so she put new hinges on for me.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, I love that as a design choice. Just, I mean, I love the pieces. I love the design choice. It's
Yeah.
just so great.
And
Awesome.
like I said, and then I just try to like really pull them all together. Now see, now the light came back on, so as you
I
can
know
see.
they get it. They're very temperamental. So we
Right.
did get a question about if it's possible to shine a little more light on those rooms. They do look a little dark. I don't know if you could
Yeah, we'll
see
try
it.
to bring the light over. Is that better?
I mean, it's good for me. If somebody, I know Kathy's needs some more light. That's a beautiful room, and I see a tufted leather sofa, which is beautiful.
So that's Gail. Gail Steffi. Gail is remarkable at her leather. So she's made all the couches, any of the wingback chairs that you see are made by Gail. And Tony made this room box. So this is one of the additions that'll go onto my lobbery. Um, the one that I'm still working on. This is the addition that'll be built to the side. So as you can see,
Oh,
he has the entryway built that'll go into the dollhouse.
so where is that dollhouse right now? Is it in that room?
It's in the other side in my basement, like
Oh,
my
okay.
work area.
Are you
Yeah.
gonna be able to fit it in that one room you're in?
I don't know. Eventually.
So we did have a couple of other questions. Who made that doll in that room that you just shared with the medieval armor, and where did the armor come from?
The armor, I bought that at an auction. I can't remember, but I could probably find out. I know I have it written down. That's another important thing to do is I write down everything that I buy, if I know the artisan and how much I paid for it and when I bought it,
Yeah.
and I keep it as a record. That is so important because first of all, if you ever have to file an insurance claim,
Mhm.
or if you want just records, or if you try to resell it, you want to see how much you paid for it. So that is something that I really recommend you do.
Yeah. No,
It's
that's
just
a really
really
good point.
that doll was made by oh, it'll come to me. I just can't.
All right.
He's in England. He
Oh,
makes dolls.
Carrington?
Yes,
Oh,
that's who it is.
beautiful.
Yeah,
Awesome.
his I have actually all the dolls that I have, except my Martha Stewart one, which I want to show that next because that's pretty amazing. And that was by Sharon. I have, yeah, she's in California, so I'm actually moving over. Sorry, I don't want to.
Nope.
So this is the other side of that dollhouse, the primitive kitchen.
Right. I love that kitchen. I've seen this
So
on.
that Sharon made the Sharon Corolla. She made me the Martha Stewart doll. There.
Duffy knows. Duffy, you know. She had it before you named it. She knows
Yep.
her stuff. Wow, that room's beautiful.
Yeah. So
That room is beautiful. My God, that stove is that a miniature wolf? What is it?
yeah, so that's the ones that Elf Miniatures in England makes.
Beautiful.
Elizabeth, she makes. and they're just good quality pieces. And like I said, very affordable. I mean, some of these appliance makers and miniatures are really expensive, and she is very affordable.
And did you
I
just
would
finish the
recommend.
edges with the green? Like, did you marry that up with the centerpiece? The
No, so this was one. So this is this kitchen, actually, the island and the anything that's the mustard color, Bubba made for me, Barbara Vagnar.
Yep.
um, and um, and then it's just glued. I mean, it's just I don't have it. Well, the pieces that are on the walls are I just have the wax, but
Right.
then I gave the dimensions to Elizabeth to make the appliances.
Right.
Um, yeah, so
Fantastic.
and then this room here is like a little conservatory or solarium.
I love that. Very shabby
One of
chic-ish.
my favorite rooms.
Yeah.
And then I have a person that makes all my drapes. Her name's Marty.
Marty.
I think her name on eBay is Yellow BJ. She makes the most beautiful drapes. You just show her, and she kind of
And
will
again,
make you whatever you need.
do you give her the fabric, or you let her find
No,
it, or you give her
she
inspiration?
she sends me photos of fabric she has, and then she makes them.
Beautiful. Really nice. Really
Yeah,
nice. That's awesome. Anybody
and
have
then
any other questions as we continue to move? That's another one of my favorite rooms. I love that room.
yeah,
And I also love the way you photograph your miniatures. I mean, we talked about having scale shown in it, but your the basic way you shoot them is pretty awesome.
yeah. Yeah, it's pretty. I mean, I have my hand in there. Sometimes I have to take furniture out to get it in,
Yeah.
the certain angle, but it's kind of like doing a photo shoot almost.
Yeah. I bet. I bet.
So
So what is your favorite room out of all of them?
my favorite room, well, it would probably it's actually the one that's probably not lit just because
Uh,
it's hard to see, but it's my schoolhouse.
oh, it's a
So I
schoolhouse.
bought the schoolhouse on you can see it right here. I bought it on Facebook Marketplace, I think for $40.
Uh-huh.
Someone made it, and I made it into like a little living room, dining room. I want to kind of show it if I I don't want to here.
Don't break anything.
See it? Can you see the inside a little bit?
A little bit. And your finger's in the way, but
Sorry. It's pretty amazing. And it's
that's
more of
also you have shot extensively on your Instagram page. So
a
if folks really want to see that, you've got a lot of great photos online on Instagram,
right.
where they can see it. And I think we're going to put in the chat box how to find you on Instagram.
Yeah, definitely.
But as we sort of wind down the hour, what do we have any other questions? I never put people on down. So an anonymous attendee is basically just saying that they don't put dolls in their miniature houses. They just want to put strangers in their house. They don't want strangers in their house, but want lots of dogs. That's a great comment. So we put the Instagram account in your Instagram account in. Connie, we can't see the barn, so go to Instagram and
Oh,
check out his page.
yeah, Fred Cobb's made that barn.
Oh, Fred Cosme. Okay, beautiful.
Yep.
Couple of other questions. This is a good question. What do you ultimately want to do with your collection? Do you want to sell it? Do you want to display it?
I mean, right now just display. And I don't know. I mean, to me, it's an investment. So, I'm sure like everybody else, there comes a point in your life where you just probably will sell it. So, I mean, I haven't thought about that yet. I mean, I'm 42 years old, so
But
I
you
guess
enjoy it. You enjoy it. So,
I
there
really
doesn't have
do. I
to
mean,
be
like
ultimate.
it's like and there's it's like any kind of hobby. There are times when I'm like I get tired, not tired of it, but like it's like you need a break from it, and I won't deal with them or even mess with them for like a week or two. I mean, I just need a break from them because you get frustrated if you're working on something and can't get it to work right, and
Uh-huh.
I just have to take a break and walk away from it.
So how many room boxes would you estimate you have, and how many doll houses? That's a question from Mabel.
So I have the two dollhouses. I have the Pam Throop, which is on display, the Labrie one, and then I believe I have almost a dozen room boxes.
And is there something that you're working on right now that's sort of, you're not going to show it, but like what's in progress that, you know,
No, I'm kind of working on I found these a great I found them, I believe, on eBay. they run a lot of someone that had bakery, like cakes and stuff. So I think my next one might be like a little bakery
Uh-huh.
um, that I'm working on. Yeah, I found like the cabinets to store 'em in. Pretty amazing the work. There
Yeah.
was someone that was selling a lot of them, and a lot of them were handmade. So I
Mhm.
mean, it's pretty amazing the detail of them. I mean, they have little donuts, and so that might be the one. And then I think really next year I really want to focus on getting the Lobbery dollhouse complete. So
That's great.
um, yeah,
And favorite flower in
my
miniature?
favorite my favorite what
Flower.
flower? I like oh, like I said, I showed in the one the
The peony.
yeah, peony.
Nice.
Yeah, I like
Well,
the
that
peonies.
is just stunning. It's beyond stunning. I can't even.
Actually, another favorite artisan. So besides Carmen is I I just want to hurry and show this one because she does amazing work. Um, Laura Crane.
Oh, I love
Laura makes
her stuff.
beau- beautiful florist. And Laura, so Laura in real life is a she makes florals. She has a business in California that she makes like florals that look real, but they're not. They're artificial for like hotels
Uh-huh.
and like businesses like that. So like that's how she got into this hobby, and then she started making miniatures. But her actual like day job is making artificial.
Yeah, silk flowers,
Um,
I think she makes, right?
yeah, yeah, amazing work.
She
I have
still
a lot of her florals. So
yeah.
her and like I said, Carmen.
Yeah. Awesome. All right. This has been unbelievably great because we're winding down the hour, but I think this has been one of the most engaged audiences I think we've ever had. So that's a testament to your awesome collection, which has been amazing to see. And I just want to thank you, Michael, for joining us today and sharing your collection with us. This has been
Yeah,
amazing.
it
So
was fun, and I'm glad. And like I said, if anyone has any questions, like you link my Instagram and send me a question. I can tell you because, like I said, I don't have every artist memorized of what I have. But like some of the people on here knew exactly who it was, and I was like, yeah, that's who it is. But sometimes you just can't remember every single person.
So if somebody wanted to reach out, they can find you on Facebook or they can join your Instagram and follow you there and you're open to getting questions, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Michael. And thank you everybody for joining this Sunday's episode of Meet the Miniatures. Join us on Saturday night, next Saturday night. We're going to be with Kay Browning and she's going to do us a walk. She's going to do a walkthrough of her beautiful museum. So join us next Saturday. Registration, find me online to register. And thank you again, Michael. It's been great.
Yeah,
Have a
and
great
one
night.
other
Yeah.
thing, I've been to Kay's museum, and it is absolutely out of this world. And you don't want to miss Saturday because she has one of the most extensive collections in the world, and it is like nothing you'll ever see. It's comparable to the Thorn Rooms in Chicago.
Yeah,
So
great point. All right. Thank you so much, Michael. Have a great night, everybody, and great rest of your days. Bye.